Hey guys, it's Dennis, and welcome back to another brand new episode of the Collider Games podcast. I'm here in studio with Josh Weyers. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you doing?
This is your second episode.
That is correct.
Last week when Jace Hall was here, you were
What a
on.
great episode!
Yeah. A lot of people were tweeting at us about that one, and we also have, through the magic of Skype, Caboose. How you doing, Caboose?
Doing good. You know, I was just saying right before we went live, I'm sitting here anxiously waiting in my Raptors gear for Kawhi to make his announcement. You know, it feels so wrong to be on this podcast with you guys being from LA while I'm here in Toronto. I feel like there's a rivalry.
Yeah, but I told you I'm not actually I don't hate the Lakers. I'm not a Lakers guy because I'm from the Bay Area and whatnot. So I don't actually. NBA is probably the one sport like where I don't really have a team. I root more for players.
Fair.
But when is that? When is he announcing? Is there a set time?
Nobody knows.
Okay.
People said it was supposed to be 2 days ago, and now it might happen today. I have no idea. I'm just gonna sit here and be patient in my Raptors hat and my Raptors shirt. And if he stays, awesome. If he leaves, I mean, at least he gave us a championship.
Yeah, that's something. Yeah. You know, something you guys haven't had before. Well, not for in hockey, yes, but not for basketball.
Not for 24 years has Toronto won anything.
Yeah.
So, pretty cool.
So
off topic.
Yeah. Another thing we are waiting for is Comic-Con.
Oh yeah.
Comic-Con is coming up in a couple of weeks, actually less than 2 weeks here. And a bunch of The Witcher news came out, as people already know, that The Witcher is having a Netflix series. Yeah. And it's starring Henry Cavill of Superman fame, Man of Steel fame. Mm-hmm. And they announced that they're going to have a panel at Hall H, which will be on, I think, the Friday.
July 19th.
Yeah, July 19th, Friday at 2:15 in Hall H. Let's see. Moderated by Yvette Nicole Brown.
Exciting. And
the panel will include cast members Cavill, Jade Latro, and Allen, alongside showrunner Lauren Schmidt-Hesrich, if I'm pronouncing that correct. Along with that, they released the first pictures of the characters, Geralt, Yennefer, and Ciri. Yeah. And I'll start off. They look pretty good. It doesn't look cheesy. It doesn't look, you know, the big worry with like sci-fi or fantasy or even in comic books is that they put out a picture and it looks crappy. And sometimes when a picture looks crappy, we just talked about this on the Game of Thrones podcast I did with Ashley. Sometimes the pictures don't do it justice, right? Like sometimes they put out a picture and the costume looks crap in the photo, but actually when you see it in motion or on screen, it looks a lot better.
Yeah.
This one looks good in pictures, so I can't imagine how this is going to look on screen. Caboose, what's your take on these pictures and the whole Witcher kind of announcements?
This looks fantastic. I am so excited for this series now. I mean, when they released that initial little teaser with Henry Cavill, especially after looking at these photos of Henry Cavill as Geralt, that initial video was a bit of a disservice for what I can see is kind of the final product of what Henry Cavill looks like as this character. And oh my goodness, I am beyond excited now. He really looks like the character. Obviously, he doesn't have the goatee. But I think he looks like fantastic as the character. Obviously, Henry Cavill is like chiseled out of stone. The dude is gigantic. He's a gaming fan, so I think this is great to have him as this character, considering he is a gamer. You know, he comes from that background, so I think that's fantastic. And overall, I'm really excited for this series and all the other characters as well. The photos of them look great, and just like you said, Dennis, it doesn't look cheesy. This looks like a show that you can take seriously. So, yeah, I'm hyped.
Yeah, for people who, you know, don't know too much about the series and are wondering where his goatee is and where the two swords are, this is actually based on the books. Netflix basically got the rights to the books, not the video game series. And so they actually can't put in things that are from the game that aren't from the books. It's like I don't know if you guys know like Wizard of Oz. Like I think Wizard of Oz, if I'm not mistaken, is like a public domain type of thing.
I didn't know that.
So it's one of those things where you can write a Wizard of Oz story, but you can't use any of the stuff that were created solely for the movie. So like the Ruby Red Slippers is a creation of the movie, so you can't create your own Wizard of Oz story and then use Ruby Red Slippers, because then you're taking what they kind of created.
Wasn't there like a similar thing with Jungle Book? Is that why like Warner Brothers or Netflix got that movie from
I think so.
As well as Disney?
Yeah, I think so.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, that's why you see so many movies based on Three Musketeers. Or, you know what I mean? Obviously, anything William Shakespeare, Romeo. You don't have to pay anything for those.
Anything folktale-y.
Yeah, anything that's very, done, because the copyrights have lapsed. But you can't take anything that someone else has, like, created from there. So that's why,
I do think we are going to see two swords in the series, though.
It is in the books.
Exactly, yeah. But he only carries one, because his horse carries the other one, Roach. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah,
cool.
anything
they might build to that.
Anything in the books they can pull from is just anything from. So what's your take on it, Josh?
Man, well, so when I saw the first teaser for Henry Cavill as Geralt, I as many other people, I liked it. I thought it was good casting. I was very happy with what I saw. So that being said, having seen the new stills, I'm so much more happy because they've improved it. I didn't think that they were going to. I looked at that teaser and I was like, you know what? I'm okay if this is just it. But now that I've seen, like, it looks jacked up, man. It looks like they took the teaser of what Henry Cavill looked that day and they just, I don't know, they put him on steroids, man. Like like you can see his face is mean as well. I love it. The hair, it's perfect. This might be.
Right.
Yeah, this might not go down so well, but I'm not much of a fan of how Yennefer looks. But I just don't like her costume. But it's one of those things where I think it's like Dennis said, it's going to look different when I see it in motion and moving around. And so that'd be cool, yeah.
And then with the teaser they put, I mean, really it was him in costume walking out of the shadows into it was more of a camera test.
With the eye contacts, yeah.
Yeah, it was more of a camera test than like something from the actual show.
Like this is promotional. They're ready to put this out on market, you know?
Yeah, and where this one, these pictures are like from, I mean, they're not like stills from the actual show, but they're promotional from on set. I'm sure they were like, hey, okay, we're already on set here. Like, let's take some pictures. And then obviously color corrected and like the full on, the full-on treatment.
Like the legit thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So question, Dennis, do we have any idea when the show is supposed to premiere?
No clue.
No?
Yeah.
Is there a chance they show the first episode at Comic-Con or anything like that?
I don't think they'll show the first episode, but they will definitely show footage.
And we'll get a release date.
And we'll get a release date.
We'll definitely get a release date.
Because they're gonna want to do this. I mean, remember, Netflix, is kind of, I mean, for Comic-Con, they've had like the Marvel stuff, right? But I'm trying to think, have they had anything that's like their own original? And obviously this is not original IP, but what I'm saying outside of like
a
this
Netflix
Marvel
panel, yeah.
I
don't know.
And this is in Hall H, so it's a big deal. So I think they're gonna come, guns blazing and I don't know. I think if it's in Hall H on Friday, I don't think they have, unless I haven't checked the actual, because the schedule I think is coming out fairly soon. But like if you see like a 2-hour block on there, then they're going to show something. They're going to show the whole pilot or whatever. But if it's like only an hour, then they're probably
I doubt Henry Cavill's going to sit there for 2 hours and answer people's questions.
Yeah. Well, usually they do the whole thing where it's like they do the panel, right? And then at the end, they're like, you ready to see the whole thing?
And get everyone pumped up.
Yeah, and then they leave. Because they do that with, I remember I saw the Defenders at Comic-Con where they had the cast come out, and then once they were done, they showed the whole first episode. So that was cool. All right. So, yeah. Witcher 3, or not Witcher 3, sorry. The Witcher.
The Witcher. There we go. One of the other things I was reading about that I liked was, because we speak about it drawing material from the book rather than the game, I read a little bit of the book, but I never finished any of them. I got very much into the games, so I didn't know that the whole. So I mean, they speak about the excerpt from the book. I believe is that they say that silver is meant for monsters and that steel is meant for normal people, but. In the game, that's definitely a gameplay mechanic. You have your silver sword, you have your iron sword, and they serve two different purposes. But in the book, in the book, I'd say it's more about each sword does serve does have its own meaning and as to how it's going to be used. But a sword's a sword, you know. Yeah. You can still kill someone with an iron if you really try hard enough.
At the end of the day, you're slashing people.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Apex Legends Season 2 has officially started, and they have a new character. We talked about the trailer last week. I haven't got a chance to start it yet. Caboose, have you?
No, I haven't got a chance to play it. I've seen a ton of footage, though. Okay. I've seen a lot of people play with the newest
Watson?
Legend.
Oh, yeah.
Watson. And she looks pretty fun. I mean, what I'm most intrigued by, what I'm excited when I do jump in, is the map changes. You know, now you have the Leviathans involved in the gameplay. You can get stomped by one, you know, that stuff is really cool. So that's what's exciting for me the most, more than the brand new Legend. And I'm happy. I'm happy for Respawn and EA. You know, they did a good job with Season 2 here. It seems a lot of people, including myself, were a little underwhelmed with Season 1's official launch. I feel that their Battle Pass was very weak. It didn't feature a ton of good content worth spending the money or the grind to get. I mean, Octane was a great Legend to add, but that's not necessarily a part of Season 1, more so than it was just a part of their content plan. But Season 2, they've seemed to have really ramped things up here, adding the Leviathans to the map, really changing up the environment a little bit. And then, of course, Watson seems to be a fun character for people to be playing around with. And yeah, it seems like a really good season. I'm excited to jump in, although I haven't had the chance to yet.
Yeah, the reviews of this season so far have been very positive. A lot of people are saying that this is almost a perfect kind of almost a reboot of you know.
I mean, I think this is a proper Season 1 because I definitely didn't. I didn't get the first season. I didn't see any point into it. There was nothing I wanted out of it, you know. And I could get Octane myself. You don't have to get the Battle Pass to get Octane.
Right.
So, Season 2 kicking off is fantastic. I played a little bit as Watson. Love her. She has that tactical ability where she can build an electric fence, which kind of is cool because you can create new choke points as well as cancel choke points out, which is really nice. She has that pylon that comes down, her ultimate, the pylon that protects the team, as well as recharges all their shields, which is so handy. Yeah. The coolest, one of the more the better plays I've seen with Watson so far is when you down an enemy and you put the fence around the enemy so that you can't have their teammates revive them, which is quite handy. So one of the other things that I've read is that she is not stealthy; she's flashy. People will hear you and see you when you are Watson.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's interesting.
The Leviathans are sick as well. Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm most excited about on the map. I'm glad that they added that because everyone kept seeing them. When you play the game, you see them off in the distance off map, and everyone was like, "Are they ever gonna get a little closer? Is there gonna be something fun involved there?" Because one of the coolest things, obviously, what kicked Fortnite kind of to the next level was when they started doing these in-game events. You know, the rocket launch or the volcano eruption,
the comet,
right? The comet, all that stuff is super fun to be involved in, and for them to do something like that in Apex Legends, I think is great. It's a fantastic idea. I love that they sort of tied it in, you know, with those Leviathans that everyone kept asking about. And, yeah, I don't know. Now I'm getting excited. I want to jump back in. I haven't played in so long. So,
it is interesting when you bring up Fortnite as well, because what they did is they told a narrative story over the course of a couple of seasons. And I think it's nice that Apex can look at that, draw inspiration from that, and I think do it better because... as much as I love Fortnite, it's a bit off the rails now. There's too much going on. So I think it's nice to see this narrative story take place slowly over time with each new legend that comes in, each new area that's taken. I mean, we've got places that were dismantled. We have buildings that are tore down. We have a new 6-story building called the Cage, which I haven't gone to explore yet, but that just sounds like hell. In a good way, I should say. Hell in a good way. That's going to be awesome. Everyone's going to flock towards the Cage.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see where the story of Apex is going to go in future seasons and how they're going to tell that narrative season.
Hopefully they start like tying in more and more Titanfall things. I would love to see, inevitably if they could have just a limited time mode where Titans were available in some way. I think that could be
that would be quite cool. Like a game mode where you can do a Titan. Ooh,
I could see
just
that.
Imagine a battle royale with just Titans or something.
I feel like that's got to be down the road, right?
All right, that'd be cool.
I think so. They would be stupid not to, inevitably.
Some of the other things I noticed from the Battle Pass is the new season. They made it, I'd say, like, well, the challenges are more specific. Like, none of the challenges go outside of the core gameplay. Like, with Fortnite, you would have challenges where it's like, go to this place and then go to the next place. Whereas with Apex, it's like you have to actually, everything that it asks you to do is not like a mission where you walk to one place to another. You actually have to do things. Heal your enemies, do a certain amount of damage with a weapon, land in specific places. So I think that's what makes it more excited to get back into that as well, because that makes me want to do the challenges.
Yeah. That sounds great. I can't wait to jump in.
Yeah, I feel like maybe I can jump in sometime this weekend.
Yeah.
All right. Next story.
Oh, hold up.
Oh, you had some more?
A little tiny bit left here. They did add a new weapon called the All-Star. It only comes from airdrops.
That's the new legendary weapon, right?
Exactly. Yeah, the new legendary. Yeah. There's 2 new hop-ups that do more damage to either shielded or non-shielded targets, respectively.
Oh.
One of them is the hop up for the Mozambique, which finally made the Mozambique worth it. So I'm excited to. Apparently, the Mozambique is OP now, so that's cool.
No way.
Other tweaks they did was character tweaks, weapon tweaks, grenade tweaks. Like Pathfinder's hitbox changed. I know people were complaining about that. And then Bloodhound's Eye of the Allfather ability now tracks enemies in real time, which is really cool. And then new skills and new emotes to unlock. So get that battle pass.
Nice.
Yeah, the new skins looked awesome too.
All right, so maybe we'll be talking about this next week and update on our progress and what we think of the new changes.
Right.
All right, the next story we've got Sony is considering studio acquisitions ahead of PS5. I guess in an interview, the Sony Interactive president and CEO Jim Ryan, he said that content is more important than ever, and in order to do that, he's considering merger and acquisitions of game developers. And this makes sense, right? Because
we've seen Xbox doing the same thing as well.
Because they learned their lesson from this generation that they lost. They got outsold 2-1, and purely, like I always keep saying, the technology is all the freaking same, right? There's yes, one may be more powerful than the other. Like Xbox One X is definitely the most powerful console, right? But
that doesn't sell the console.
No, and it's also
exclusivity.
The difference between the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro is minor, right? It's like, it's better graphics, but how much better is it? Not that much better. So that's not going to be a difference, right? What the difference is these exclusives, and Sony had them this generation.
They brought the A game, man. Yeah.
And Microsoft didn't, so they learned that lesson. So they started picking up a bunch of studios like Ninja Theory, Obsidian, and whatnot. Now Sony's thinking about, maybe we should do that as well. They already had a pretty good library of exclusives for this generation, but maybe they want to beef it up more. So the way I look at this, it's like good and bad, right? So it's good because it's like, okay, Sony, it makes sense. If Microsoft's going to do that, Sony's going to do it, and they're both going to have some great games. But the bad part is now we're getting down to that road that I'm talking about where suddenly everyone's going to have their own exclusives, and then eventually we're all going to be on subscription services.
Exactly.
And eventually, you're going to have like the Xbox Game Pass, whatever, that you're paying for. But if you want to play this other game, but it's only on the Sony one, then you got to subscribe to that one too, and you got, you know what I mean? Just like with this whole Netflix.
A lot of people of this generation of consoles got very lucky that pretty much all the good stuff was on the PlayStation. Yeah. So if you just wanted to get the PlayStation, you're good. Where the fear now becomes if this next generation, and Stadia, if like a lot of exclusives start going to different platforms and they're like really good, then you're gonna be like torn of, do I have to just spend double the money here?
Yeah.
Which console do I go and buy? It creates the whole flame war again.
It's that whole argument of like Hulu, HBO, or Netflix, you know?
Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
But yeah, the only difference though is with, at least right now, with Hulu, Amazon Prime, Netflix, you know, $7, $8, $10, $15 a month or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's say there's a show you absolutely want to watch on a service you don't have. You could subscribe to that service for 1 month and just binge it all and be done and then cancel, right?
True, yeah.
The problem with this, at least currently, because right now we aren't on that subscription. We aren't on the Stadia. I mean, Stadia's coming out later this year, the Apple one, but we don't really have the Xbox and PlayStation one. Not the ones that are Xbox has one and PlayStation have one, but those are like for older games, not the newer games. So we don't have that right now. So that involves you buying an entire system to play. Like, for example, right now I don't have a PS4 and I want to play God of War. So I can't pay $60 and buy God of War to play, or I can't pay $15 and like, I don't know if you would say binge play or whatever the hell. Like,
I'd say binge play, yeah.
Whatever the equivalent is.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I have to buy the
entire
system. I mean, this will probably be a lot easier to do in the future, but
with
right
streaming
now,
video games?
Yeah.
I mean, I see the subscription service coming in way more into place when it comes to streaming video games when that comes out. But at least then it'll be a case of I don't think you'll have to worry about what console you have.
Yes.
You know, then you will have to still worry about exclusivity, though.
Sure, but it's a less of barrier of entry, right?
True.
Like I can pay the $15 or even $20 a month for, let's say, a Sony whatever subscription for a month and then run through a game that I want to play.
True.
Versus right now, I gotta buy a whole...
Fork out $400.
Exactly. So, not sure, you know, how that's going to work, but it makes sense, and it's actually a good thing because it's like, okay, now they have to up their game because they saw Microsoft needs to up their game because of what Sony did this generation.
While we're here, if anyone from Sony is listening, please send Dennis a PS4.
Yeah.
Can we make that happen, please?
I would want to play God of War and Spider-Man. And
absolutely got to play Spider-Man. I know you'd love it.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing, I mean, I've repeated this many a time, but I'll tell it for Josh here. I had a PS3. I bought it specifically for The Last of Us. And then it had a glitch on it where you couldn't do manual saves.
That sucks,
So I got to this one part. It's like this part where it's like, and I hate doing stealth stuff. It's like the stealth part where you got to like, not get, you know, it killed. You can't fight your way out of it because there's just too many zombies. And I would pass it after doing the stealth thing, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then I couldn't save it. And then I would get killed later on, and I'm like, I got to start this whole thing again. I stopped playing the game.
Oh, man. Well, speaking of saves, I really hope that more game developers, as more games come out with cloud saving, it's just so convenient. Like, I mean, I have a PlayStation in my room, and then my roommate's PlayStation in the living room, and it's just nice I can just switch between the two if it's a cloud save. You know, I don't have to worry about transferring my save data. Or
I do that
like
here at work. I play when I was doing Red Dead, right? I'd play Red Dead at home, save it. I would come here, and then after hours at work, I would play it.
With the cloud saving, that's so handy.
Yeah, like I would just, as soon as, you know, hit like around 6 or 7 o'clock here and everyone went home, I would just be like, okay, before I go home, let me play like an hour or two of Red Dead. Otherwise, I'm never, you know, that's a long ass game.
I still haven't finished it.
I never had to worry about it.
True.
It would just, I mean, every time I saved it, went in the cloud, I could play.
Yeah, no, I did the same with Persona 5. I loved it. I'd like go watch the bigger cutscenes in the living room on the nice TV.
Yeah. So it's just one of those things that, in the future. So I want to play Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2, God of War, Spider-Man, all these things. But yeah. So yeah.
The Witcher.
This is just going to intensify the console war more than it already is.
True, yeah.
So.
But I mean, at least Sony was nice about it. They do say that they welcome the new competitors. They're being very welcoming to Stadia and all the other people who want to get into it. You know.
Well, also they've teamed up with Microsoft to work on their streaming service because they know they don't have the infrastructure to do it,
right?
And they're not going to partner with Google. They know that it's better to partner with Microsoft, because at least they know what Microsoft, like Sony has their market share, Microsoft has their market share, Nintendo has their market share. They don't want Google and Stadia to further get market share into an already crowded
That's true, yeah.
place, where with Microsoft, if they team up with Microsoft, they're only really using their infrastructure, and for them, keeping the status quo is fine. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting.
While we're on the topic of exclusivities for Sony, I think of people losing exclusives. You know, that's something I've seen happen in a couple of years, where you have something that's exclusive just to the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like has been for years. I think of like Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, games like that. And then eventually, like, I mean, the Square Enix, the developers are going to be like, wait, hold on. Why aren't we on all the other consoles? You know? So I guess that does lead me to believe that I think it's a chase for new exclusives, because maybe they're losing exclusives, which isn't a bad thing. It's just the natural order of things, you know?
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of exclusives, SpiderMan on PS4 giving out those Spider-Man Far From Home suits. I think it's 2 suits, right?
Two suits,
The black one.
The stealth one.
Stealth one, and then the one with, instead of blue, it's black.
Suits.
Yeah, the upgrade suit. You guys, have you guys downloaded them yet, or are they out yet?
They are.
Yeah.
They came out 2-3 days ago.
Okay.
It was
when the movie was out, July 2nd.
Okay.
Yeah. I haven't played it. But I have seen them. They look fantastic. We got 5 MCU suits now. If you think about it, we have the DIY suit that you see Tom Holland in before he meets Tony Stark. The normal Spider-Man suit from the MCU. Then we have the Iron Spider suit, and now we've got these 2 coming out. My worry with the stealth suit, and as much as I love the stealth suit, is that there is another suit called the Noir suit, which is a little similar. But from all the MCU suits, they look so good in the game. I don't know if it's because they have to, because it's tied to Marvel, but those suits they just look so real when you're actually swinging around the city. Yeah. I love it. 2 of the other MCU suits I think of is the Sam Raimi suit, where you can actually see the webbing. Really cool. And and the Spider-Verse suit.
Yeah. Oh, right. Where they had like kind of the animation style.
Yeah.
But in the game, these suits are so good. And what a surprise it was. These suits, when they dropped, it's been 10 months since Spider-Man PS4 came out, and they're still adding content to the game.
For free.
Crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for free. It's crazy because when the first trailer for Far From Home had dropped, I believe they had just recently added the Fantastic Four suits. It was like all the way back in January. They added the Future Foundation and the Bagman costumes. And I remember when the Far From Home trailer dropped, everyone was hounding Insomniac like, hey, are we going to get these costumes in the game? You know, you guys have been doing a couple of free updates here and there. And they were like, no, that's not in the plans right now. So my assumption was all the way back in January that after that Fantastic Four update, that was it. Spider-Man PS4 has run its course. Amazing post-content. I really enjoyed the game. It was fantastic. Loved every bit of it, but that was it. We were done, you know?
I thought we were done after the Iron Spider suit, man. They went through so much to get that Iron Spider suit. I was like, I didn't see them going through that again.
No, exactly. But just to get the rights on this kind of stuff, I'm sure it must be really difficult, and most especially with the Raimi suit, because of the fact that maybe Sony didn't want people thinking about, you know, Raimi's trilogy when the MCU version's out and everything. But regardless, so when Spider-Man Far From Home's coming out, I wake up early in the morning, and what do you know? People are tweeting at me like, hey, the suits are in the game. And I'm like, it's some Photoshop, whatever. Yeah. And then Insomniac tweets out like, the suits are in the game. And I went a little crazy. I got to be honest. I was super excited to check out these costumes. I'm not a huge fan of the stealth suit. Like, I'm not going crazy over it. I think it's fine. It's great that they added it in, and it's a free update, so I'm not going to complain. But man, the upgrade suit with the white logo on the back and
it looks sick.
Black lining. Oh, it looks so good. Designed to perfection. Photo mode is a blast to use with this costume, and I'm sure after I see Far From Home a couple of more times, I'd want to jump in and maybe recreate some shots if it's possible with that suit, because man, it is just awesome. I am so happy that they added these in. I am super surprised that they added these in, and I'm guessing now we're done. Now that rounds things out for Spider-Man PS4.
At least till we have a sequel.
Right, until the sequel. And honestly, like, it's crazy because I believe after these 2 suits, there was a total of 41 alternate costumes for Spider-Man in this game, which is holy smokes crazy. And a large majority of them are completely unlockable. No purchase necessary, no microtransactions, none of that. Some of them even just added in free updates. This is stuff that's in 2019 completely unheard of from a single-player game. So I got to tip my hat to Insomniac Games for what they did with Spider-Man PS4 because they really provided some fan service here, and they've done a bang-up job with the game.
See, if I were Insomniac, and of course I'm more petty than them, I'd be like, oh, you complained about not getting the Sam Raimi Spider-Man suit, which they eventually did. Sorry, you don't get access to this suit.
Oh, man. Insomniac is so chill. I love them. A friend of mine actually has their logo tattooed on his chest.
Wow.
And he sent them he sent them a photo of it. He tweeted them, and they tweeted him back with the same photo, but on one of their, like, editors' desks, like, as motivation. They have, like, a wall of fan tattoos. Nice. Really cool, yeah. There's while we're on the topic, one of the most wholesome videos I've ever seen regarding Spider-Man was a fan took the Spider-Man game and got the developer to Spider-Man 2 from the PS2 to play it.
And I've seen that.
Dude, it's so good. And give his own take about how good the web swinging is in the game.
He's the guy who invented, like, the way that the web's attached to buildings in Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, like, which is phenomenal cool for the time that came out. That was amazing. Yeah.
No, that's a really, really cool video. I agree with you. It's awesome to see the way he reacted to the gameplay and provided his own wisdom and experience from inventing that iconic feature in a Spider-Man game. So that's a great video.
Man, yeah. I recently went through all the suits on Spider-Man. They're so good. The armor spider suits look sick, man, especially when you add the Iron Spider ability to it. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. My favorite, aside from the Raimi suit, which I think looks the best in the game, my favorite is the Scarlet Spider. I think they that one looks amazing.
That one does look quite cool, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We got a couple Cyberpunk news items. One being that they were talking about Cyberpunk 2077 movie, which is much more of a possibility according to the franchise creator, Mike Pondsmith. He said, I can't really say anything on movie rights, but with Keanu Reeves being tied up in things, it's become much more of a possibility.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, obviously this is, kind of some wishful thinking, on their part where it's like, if this game does what it's supposed to do, like, obviously it's like one of the most anticipated games. If it sells a ton, everyone receives it very well. And then you have Keanu Reeves already involved with it. Like, the transition to a film version would obviously
be a different medium. He goes on to say that, which I like. It's nice to know that he uses an analogy that I love, where it's like, if I developed a game for a tabletop game, it's going to be very different to how I'm going to develop a video game. You know what I mean? So he knows that adaptations would have to happen if you're going to do a film adaptation. It's a different medium. Don't do the video game medium in film. Do film medium.
Right.
Which, it's very cool of him to say that.
Yeah, and also you got the world of Cyberpunk 2077, and then you kind of use that, and it could be a different character or whatnot. I mean, I don't know exactly Keanu Reeves. I mean, they've said the role, but we don't know if that role can exist outside of your own main character, and maybe.
In the game itself, we're getting three different stories, three different people that we have to be with no morality scale.
Yeah.
So those seem fairly linear, which I have nothing against that. But that does paint the picture of, if they were to do a movie, I don't think it would have anything to do with the game, just the world of the game.
But also,
but obviously Keanu Reeves would have to be in it.
But obviously, if they have 3 different characters, and I read there was going to be 3 different origin stories for these characters,
3 different prologues,
they're all going to have Keanu Reeves' character, Johnny Silverhand, in it. So that means that can transition to anyone.
That's true. Yeah.
They can create a brand new character for, let's say, a movie. That would be
so cool. Yeah.
And then that same character of Keanu Reeves can be in there because it seems like it can.
There's a lot of freedom. Yeah.
It's not. Yeah. It's not tied to just one character, right? So that should be interesting. And speaking of like the whole 3 origins thing, I guess there was a rumor saying like they thought that Cyberpunk 2077 they were going to have working on 3 different projects in there, but it actually ended up not being true. Like people thought, like, oh, they're making 3 games based on Cyberpunk 2077, but actually it was 3 teams. I guess there's 5 teams at CD Projekt Red.
Right.
One's working on Gwent for that Witcher
and then
game.
one is an unnamed game, but
mobile game. They said,
and then the other 3 are working on the current. So it's not 3 teams working on 3 separate Cyberpunk 2077. It's 3 teams working on this one game.
Yeah.
So, I think it's one of those things where it's like, maybe they'll wait till after it comes out and the reception or whatnot and see what they want to do.
Well, I can only imagine with the popularity of the game right now and, you know, how many eyes are drawn to it, especially after seeing Keanu walk on stage at the Xbox conference at E3. I can only imagine that the reaction that got out of the internet. I'm sure that some Hollywood eyes have turned to this direction to be like, oh,
that can be dangerous though as well. I'm thinking, they could try to cash in on it too soon, which can be dangerous.
True. I think they'll see what happens with Witcher. I mean, even though it's not a movie, they're going to see like, hey, what's this response to this video game TV series, right? Like, do people really like it? Is the story good? You know what I mean?
I feel like, you know, just as you were mentioning earlier, the way that they're explaining, you know, okay, the game is based off of, you know, a tabletop or what is it, like a board game essentially, right? But in that, it's just based off of that world. It's not telling a specific story because they're 2 different mediums. So if you're gonna translate it into film, it has to be kind of original and work as a film. It can't be the game made into a movie because as a game, it's going to be packed with so much content. It's going to be like, I'm assuming because it's coming from CD Projekt Red, at least a 30+ hour story experience. And you can't throw that much content in a movie. You can't condense that much content into a movie.
The problem with having that source material is that anyone can check it. You know, they can watch the movie and they can be like, hey, I can just check the source material. Whereas if you make up your own story in that world, you have so much more freedom. Right. Which going back to what we said last week about that Final Fantasy series they're coming out with, I think will be interesting because they're setting it in the world, not about one of the characters that you've seen in the show, you know? You'll see the characters in the game, from the game, but it's its own thing just in that world, and I think that's why that series is going to do well.
Yeah, I mean, with The Witcher, Final Fantasy, Resident Evil, you know, this next couple of years are going to be very telling on what direction Hollywood is going to go to with the Halo as well on Showtime.
Oh wow, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and so we're gonna see, like, is this kind of video game to movie / TV kind of?
I do think The Witcher is going to do really well. I think it's going to fill that little hole in the Game of Thrones fans' hearts. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's I think it's a good time for it to come out as well.
Yes. I'm sure Game of Thrones had a lot to do with that getting greenlit.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, after Cyberpunk 2077, who knows, maybe they go do a Witcher 4, or, you know what I mean?
That would be cool. I'd love that, yeah.
They don't necessarily want to work on another Cyberpunk 2077 project right away.
They could become very similar to the way that Rockstar's kind of just known at this point for 2 franchises. Yeah. Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption. Yeah. CD Projekt Red can become known for 2 franchises. The Witcher and Cyberpunk. So
and that's perfectly okay, you know?
I mean, before Anthem, I'm fine with it. BioWare was known for Mass Effect and Dragon Age. You know? Right. And then...
And then didn't they also do BioShock?
No, that's...
No.
I forgot what company that is. I'm blanking on the name.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. It's not BioWare, no. You're right, yeah.
BioShock. Which, you know, originally they were going to do a BioShock movie.
That would honestly
with Gore Verbinski, but then that ended up, I guess he wanted too much money. BioShock is 2K.
Oh man, 2K, they make so much money because they got Rockstar as well, right? 2K Interactive. They own Rockstar. Yeah.
No, is that Take-Two?
Sorry, Take-Two. Oh my God! Wow. I apologize to everybody listening and watching. I still remember oh my God! My friend said this to me. It was so sad the other day. If I had taken $10,000 and I had invested into Take-Two Interactive the week before GTA came out, that would have gone up. It went up. Stocks went up by 600%. That would have turned into $600,000. Like, what the fuck? It's so depressing to think about. Yeah. Everybody invest into CD Projekt Red now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. Before Cyberpunk launches.
Before that comes out.
Get it. Yeah. And then hopefully it gets delayed. So or hopefully it gets delayed. Stock drops a bit. Then you invest.
Then you buy.
In an ideal world, yeah.
All right, last thing. This is kind of more for me. I'm a big Alan Wake fan. So Remedy got the publishing rights back for the Alan Wake franchise. So this is like a game that was exclusive for Microsoft, the Xbox 360, and the PC. And there was talks about possibly doing a second one. I know they actually started working on Alan Wake 2. There was two DLCs and this kind of spin-off DLC called American Nightmare. But eventually the second one just ended up not going anywhere.
I remember the announcement of the second one. That wasn't even that long ago, like a couple years ago, 3, 4.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's more of a cult hit than like a hit. You know what I mean?
Anybody I know who's played the game says it's one of the best stories that they've ever experienced.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite games. But it's definitely a story-driven. It's a single-player experience, and Remedy right now is finishing up Control. You know, before they're unlike Rockstar, they work on multiple IPs. Like they did Max Payne, they did Alan Wake, they did Control, they did what was the one? What was that time one? What am I blanking?
Continuum? No.
The one with Sean Ashmore?
Yeah.
Quantum Break?
Yeah, Quantum Break. You know what I mean? So they are, instead of, they don't, it's not that they don't do sequels, they just don't rely on just a couple franchises. They kind of create new franchises. And so with Control coming out, even though they got the publishing rights back, which means they can now publish on the PlayStation and other platforms, they don't
which
have
would be
to
good,
exclusive. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to make one. It just means it's one barrier.
There's a better chance.
Yeah, there's a better chance. Because who knows? Let's say Control blows up and it's a huge, huge game. Then they're going to be like, maybe we'll invest into a Control 2 before they work on...
It's like when Disney acquired Fox and we thought maybe we can finally see the Fantastic Four and Avengers together.
So eventually...
Hopefully soon enough.
Yeah, hopefully. So I'm excited by that news, but it's one of those things where maybe we'll hear about this way further
down the line. Maybe the next E3.
Yeah.
We'll see some teasers. Who knows? Yeah.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
So before we kind of wrap up this podcast, you guys, what have you guys been playing? What's been up with you guys in terms of games or?
Well, me, I've been playing Apex.
Okay.
Nice.
Just because I am enjoying the new season. It's quite fun. Other than that, I've been playing Borderlands to get myself excited for Borderlands 3. So I've been playing the pre-sequel as well as Borderlands 2 with my friend Jack. And then, like I said last week, I'm a diehard JRPG fan, so I've been replaying Final Fantasy 12. I've been playing Dot Hack the Lost Recode, which is like an old... It's an out there JRPG. I love it though. It's been good though. Other than that, yeah, for the most part, Apex and then Borderlands. That's what I've mainly been playing this past week.
And then the new Final Fantasy is coming out this month, right?
Oh well, I mean, yeah, the expansion. Yeah, I need to get back on that. I'm like 2 expansions behind already, but that first expansion was fucking beautiful, man. I loved it. Yeah.
And then also,
it's probably the best MMO I've ever played, hands down. Yeah. Wow. And I did play World of Warcraft, but I mean, like currently, it is. I'd say currently it's the best MMO if you were going to get into one.
$13.90 or $12.99 a month. Actually, it says you can play freely up to level 35, but then after that, that's how they get you hooked.
That's how they get you, yeah. That wasn't an option when I played. That's pretty cool. I just had that. You buy the game and then you obviously get the first month.
Yeah, this happened last week. They decided, hey, you can play it to level. They get you hooked, and
that is when you get like I was by the time I was level 35, I had no life. That was I was talking to people in Japan, telling them like, no, get out of school now. We need to do this raid. I was like, I don't care about you. Like it was too real.
Also, Marvel Ultimate Alliance is coming out.
Oh
yeah,
yes.
in 2 weeks
on the Switch.
I'm super excited.
Yeah. Do you have your Switch yet, Caboose?
Yeah. I've
Okay.
had it for a little bit now.
Okay.
I'm very excited for that.
What have you been playing on the Switch?
Interestingly enough, I've been hooked on Mario Tennis.
Okay.
Nice.
I actually have a ton of fun playing that. And it's mostly like right now it's at my brother's place. I go over a couple of times. We hang out, we'll play like Mario Party or something if we invite a couple of people over. It's obviously the Switch is always meant to, like, for the most part, the big sell of the Switch is to have that cooperative experience, to be playing with other people. The one game I do have to get, though, because I still never experienced it yet, is Breath of the Wild.
Dude, it's so good. Oh my god.
I know. I have heard, and that's, I got to get on that.
I mean, look at this past E3. We've got like 2 or 3 games coming out that's basically The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Like that's really inspired a lot
the
of
Gods
people.
and Monsters from
the Greek one coming out. Yeah, there was another one that wasn't announced. There was another one that wasn't announced at E3, but it's from an indie developer. I think somewhere in France. I could be wrong, but it's like a slightly more whimsical version of Breath of the Wild, where like their gliders are like giant leaves, but it's essentially the same thing.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been still playing Mortal Kombat for the most part, and then and I jumped back into Spider-Man for a bit. I got re-addicted to the gameplay once again because of those suits. Yeah.
I'm playing Titanfall 2, which I picked up for $5.
That's not too bad. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm playing it and going, man, how did this not? It didn't really get a lot of buzz or.
It was. I remember when it came out. It came out the same time as a lot of other big games. Was the problem?
Yeah,
that was the biggest issue.
It got a little cannibalized, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I think EA actually had another one of their games come out right around the same time.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Didn't Battlefield 1 come out as well at the same time?
I think
so. Battlefield 1 came out.
So.
Yeah. Because the controls are super smooth, super fun to play.
It's
graphics
one of the most
are great.
underrated FPSs.
And you can obviously see because Apex Legends is based on the same world, but you watch Apex Legends or play Apex Legends, or you play or not play, but you're looking at the footage from the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and you see a lot of things from Titanfall in there.
I'm excited for that Star Wars game, man.
Yeah,
it's been a long time since we've got a good like a solo player
single player
game. Oh my god, Knights of the Old Republic was like.
Well, it's one of my favorite games of all time.
Amazing, yeah. KOTOR, I love it. I would love a series, a Knights of the Old Republic series. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Which is funny because the game came out, right? Okay, the Star Wars or BioWare helped make that game. That was before BioWare was owned by EA. Okay. Then EA gets the sole exclusive license for Star Wars, and they also own BioWare, who made you know what I mean? Like,
why? Why not make more?
Yes, you would think that all the stars would align for that, right? It's like the same company owns the exclusive rights to Star Wars games, and the same company now owns the company that made the original game. You know what I mean? And that was not true back when that game came out. So.
I find it funny that Star Wars Battlefront, like the new. Because did you ever play the old Star Wars Battlefront?
Yes.
I was like, it's so much better. I don't know how you were able to make a worse game.
Yeah, I remember playing that. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. Just like
I had all the mods installed and everything on PC. Man, such a good time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting in that one. Speaking of EA, there was I didn't throw it on here, but maybe might as well just kind of talk about it a little. I guess one of the guys from one of the heads of EA was talking about like they understand that they're being like people view them as like the bad guy, and
rightfully so
because of their surprise mechanics.
Yeah, that they don't know why they're the bad guys.
What's the new name for loot boxes again? I forgot. They had to classify loot boxes as something.
Surprise mechanics.
Surprise
mechanics. Oh my god, so ridiculous.
So it's like one of those things where they don't they know that they're seen as the bad guys, but they don't understand Wow.
I mean, I don't have.
They don't understand, really.
Yeah.
They don't understand what. Oh my god, the fact that
Me neither.
even like Disney was looking at EA like, yo, you guys mess up one more time, we are taking Star Wars away from you. I mean, Disney's stocks dropped when that whole Battlefront 2 fiasco happened. Like that's intense.
It's rough. I mean, it's so crazy how Battlefront 2 ended up the way that it was, because Battlefront, the first one, there was a lot of controversy surrounding that one as well. There was a ton of people complaining.
Exactly.
There's no single player. You guys shackle people from even playing the sort of single player modes, that they can't earn the in-game currency anymore after a certain point. Like there was so many issues that people had with Battlefront 1 that you think, okay, when they're going to transition to the sequel here, yeah, like you think, okay, they're going to go into the sequel. They got a story now. Yeah. Like they have to have had listened. You know, like there's no way that they could screw this one up, right? Right. And then it just, oh man, it was like you pulled out the wrong piece in the Jenga tower and things came crashing.
Here's the thing: it's not even that bad of a game. It's just it had such a bad start. Like I think they fixed a lot of the things that people complained about, but it was too late. The damage had been done. You know,
the game was ruined by greed. The game itself, as like a quality product, is still good. Like I know plenty of people who still play it today because obviously after a certain amount of people complaining, they fixed up a lot of the issues. But man, I can't believe that game ended up in the state that it is, and I'm baffled that EA just has no clue why they're seen as the bad guys in this situation now.
It's like they've never gone on Facebook or Reddit or anything.
Do they not use social media? I don't know why they're doubling down on this. Just own up. You have screwed up.
Do what Todd Howard did at the Bethesda E3 thing with the whole Fallout 76. He was like, he didn't apologize, which is a little messed up, but he like subtly apologized, which is at least better than what EA did. You know what I mean?
At least they were able to come out and be like, hey, you guys criticized us and we deserved it. You know,
exactly,
in his own words, he very much just said, yeah, we kind of screwed up on this one. And granted, although like looking back at a lot of the interviews with Todd Howard, it almost seemed like he didn't want to release Fallout 76 in the state that it was. It sounded like he was almost wanting to put the game out as
he's probably pushed by the board of directors, you know what I mean, to get it out sooner.
I'm assuming so, because you look back at a lot of the older interviews and stuff, and it sounds like Todd Howard almost wanted to release the game as like an early access sort of situation.
Yeah, he wanted to test the waters for sure before releasing the game. Yeah,
right. Yeah, because that's another game where it's just what a disaster of a launch.
Yeah. And now they're adding NPCs back.
Yeah, well, they're basically trying to repair the damage. Yeah. And I mean, the good thing for PR and player relations is that it's free. Yeah, it's free. Right, so you're gonna get this, which I
haven't tried the battle royale yet. I've been meaning to.
I played it when they had the beta up. You know,
I heard the battle royale is actually fun.
It's what you expect. It's battle royale, but it's Fallout, right? So the controls aren't like super smooth. You know what I mean? It doesn't play like Apex Legends or anything like that. You have that kind of a little. I don't know what the word is for like Fallout, where it's like it's a little clunky.
I would say that, yeah. It's a bit more like mechanical.
Yeah,
you know?
the thing is, Fallout was never meant to be an FPS, right?
Yeah.
So it's a little clunkier, but it's set in the Fallout world, and so if you're a fan of Fallout like I am, then it's kind of fun to play.
I wonder what's going to happen with the Fallout series with Outer Worlds coming out, you know? Like, I'm very excited.
It'll be interesting if Outer Worlds does end up really good.
Yeah, because I try. Obviously, in Outer Worlds, the E3 trailer drop that blew my mind, but now everything with a grain of salt. That's, you know what I mean? I don't know what to expect until I see it. I've heard good things from people who have been able to get their hands on it, but I don't know. I really don't know.
And also, Microsoft picked up Obsidian, so Outer Worlds is going to be multi-platform. But let's say it's a success, and they want to do Outer Worlds 2, it will be Microsoft only.
Oh, and then then it's going to get butchered. They're going to like get put through the ringer. Certain things they can do and cannot do.
We'll see.
So many restrictions.
It's just really unfortunate for Fallout, especially, and the same goes for a game like Star Wars Battlefront 2 as well. Is that in the current states that they're in, they're not so bad. And when all that free DLC does come in, the NPCs and all that gets added to Fallout 76, I'm sure it's actually going to be a pretty good game.
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt that if it released in that state that it's going to when that free update comes out, it would have gotten some pretty good reviews. And that's the unfortunate thing that I'm assuming goes back to what Todd Howard was thinking, is that maybe the game just, it was not ready.
Yeah.
But they were like, we need to get this out the door.
Yeah, imagine if they had released the full-on game 1 year later, let's say November of this year, with the battle royale, with the new NPCs, with the storylines, so and all the revisions they have done. Like now they have the mode where, because remember when it first came out, if you try to attack someone, unless they engage back with you,
there was no PvP.
Yeah, there's no PvP. But now they have that mode. You can still play the regular way where you can't, no one can come and really kill you. But now they have the PvP mode. So it's like, it's like, imagine if that full game came out and was like, here, you have all these different choices, and you can play it the way you want to play it.
People would be so excited,
versus what came kind of half-baked game. So,
and you would think that like game developers would take a look at No Man's Sky and Fallout 76 and start learning from these,
Well, Anthem. I mean, speaking of E3, like Anthem, the whole Anthem thing. And
oh my God, I was so.
That's a perfect example.
I wanted Anthem to be so good. I wanted Anthem to be so fucking good, man. But nothing. Like I didn't even get to play it. I had a friend who had a day one, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy it, and he looked me square in the face and said, don't.
I mean, I played the demo and it was fun, but I heard that it just kept repeating itself. And I think Caboose, you did a review of it, and you said like there's just nothing beyond the initial fun of the game.
The novelty of the gameplay, it's something I've never played before. And when you first get your hands on Anthem, you're going to be blown away. I guarantee you. I promise you that much. But after you kind of ride that wave of, holy shit, I am Iron Man, then you're like, okay,
what do I do?
They should have made that game a MMO.
Yeah. Or
they
go more like a Destiny kind of route, even.
One of those games, especially after you saw there was that huge Kotaku article about all the craziness behind the scenes around that game. It's another one of those games just plagued by this dark cloud that hovers over the game industry.
It was like 6 months of development only. Yeah, it's crazy, man. How can you create a game in like half a year? It's crazy.
Brutal. This whole dark cloud that's been hovering over the game industry is finally starting to get brought to the light of the time crunch and the sacrifice that people make for their mental health to get games made. Finally, that stuff is starting to surface.
I think there was a article that came out about Call of Duty Black Ops.
Yes.
And I have a friend that used to work at Treyarch as a QA tester, and he said like they're QA testers and they get treated like
it's terrible.
Yeah,
just terrible. No, it's hopefully, considering a lot more of these articles are starting to make it to light, hopefully a lot of people in the games industry are like, oh shit, we can't really get away with this anymore.
I know CD Projekt Red specifically spoke out about crunch times and how it affects other studios and how like I love CD Projekt. I think they were straight up. They're like, yo, if we're gonna have a delay, we're gonna have a delay.
Yeah,
deal with it. Yeah. We're gonna give you guys a full game.
Yeah, it's a Rockstar way too, right? It's like, oh, it's not ready yet. Let's delay it because it's not ready.
There was some allegations regarding some of the hours that some people had to work on that game. Granted, people came out and said, "Hey, no, we were healthy. We loved what we were doing."
Yeah, they wanted to do those hours. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, you look at what CD Projekt Red is saying. You look at a game like Borderlands 3, for instance, that Gearbox had been working on, and everyone was like, "Hey, when are you going to show us this game?" And they're like,
"Yeah," and we knew they were working on it.
Yeah, they were like, "Hey, just wait. Like, do you want a shitty game? Do you want Star Wars Battlefront 2, or do you want a fully polished, finished game?" And now that they're ready to showcase it, they've given us all this content, all this amazing stuff to see, and the game's right around the corner.
And they've learned so much as well with having this later release date with Borderlands 3. I mean, they've added pinging. They've added a lot of things that Apex brought in that I think is now going to be a staple to most FPS games or even looter shooters.
Life stuff. Yeah,
there's going to be the sliding, the pinging, all those things are going to be. So that's going to be exciting.
Yeah. So that's why I'm sure. I mean, maybe I'll be wrong, but I have a pretty good hunch Borderlands 3 is going to be a damn good game.
While we're on that topic, I was thinking about it the other day. How good would a Borderlands series be? It would just be a comedic Mad Max.
As like a live action?
As like a live action series. It would be so crazy, man.
Absolutely. I'd be all
about that, yeah. And I don't see, you wouldn't, I don't know, like, I don't think you could mess that up, honestly, like, because you could just got to go as crazy as possible, and you can just dial it back if it's too much,
I wish Borderlands was even more of a phenomenon. I wish it was just insanely popular so that something like that had a chance to get made, because oh man,
That would be good. Yeah,
that would be incredible. I would be so excited. But like I was saying, I'm assuming, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming that Borderlands 3 is going to be a good game.
Oh yeah.
So hopefully that starts to become a shining example of what happens with a game when you just take your time and just work at a normal working man's pace. And when the game is done and ready to show, then you show it. Don't fake an E3 demo. Don't pull a Watch Dogs. Don't do anything like that. When you're ready to showcase the game, when it looks good, when it looks polished, show us the game. And when you know you've landed a release date that you can meet that doesn't require people to be staying super late hours on crunch time, get that release date and put the game out then.
For sure.
As consumers, we can wait. We act impatient. Yes. We tweet and harass developers online. Yes. But when they give us the release date, we'll be excited. It happened with SpiderMan PS4. I remember a ton of people were all over Insomniac like, hey, when are we getting this game? You announced it 2 years ago. Are you gonna give it to us? And then they did a Game Informer cover, and it was out later that year, and it ended up being one of the greatest games out that year.
Yeah, that's how I feel about Final Fantasy VII. Like all the delays that have come in, they've changed their release date for Final Fantasy VII so many times since that original E3 release.
Yeah.
But most of the fans, all of us, were like, cool.
Just make it
don't
good.
Fuck it up.
Yeah, make it good.
Just make it good. We don't care. And I think with Borderlands as well, like having the previous game has come out so long ago, they do have that freedom, I think, with the fans where it's like, we've waited so long, we don't mind waiting a bit longer, you know? If it was like, if Borderlands 2 came out like 2 years ago and they announced it, we would be like, where is this game? We need it now, you know?
Exactly. It's good that they announced it when they did because they had a release date ready to go, and it was in only a couple of months from when they announced the game. So
yeah,
so good on them. Good on them. Hopefully more games start to take
from
notice.
that.
Yeah. The moral of the story is, you know, and much like when you talk about like movies, more so like 3D animated movies, right?
Yeah.
You can work on that stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot harder for live action stuff because once you've shot it, there's only so much you can do in reshoots and post, right?
Yeah.
Like
people's schedules and
you kind of
you
have to kind of go kind of with what you have. Where games and animation, you can change a significant amount if you need to, and you can also improve on stuff if you need to.
That's true.
Where like the other stuff, not so much. So. All right, guys, that's it for this episode of the Collider Games podcast. I want to thank everyone for listening in to us, and I also want to thank the people joining us on the panel today. Josh, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch as either josh.toki or josh_toki. I stream on Wednesdays and Thursdays.
All right, Caboose?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at CabooseEK.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero or Instagram, Dennis.tzng. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/Collider Games. Also to the Collider Factory feed, which is the podcast. We are here every single week. Send us questions. You can chat with us on Twitter. That's, at least for me, the easiest to chat with people about.
I check the comments on YouTube fairly often.
Yeah,
so,
comments on YouTube.
Tell us your favorite Apex legend.
Yeah.
In the comment section. That'd be cool.
Cool. Until next week, see you guys later.